Hi, it's Mike here from Two Dads. So thanks for joining me again for another episode with our COVID-19 support videos. Today's a slightly different angle and different attempt. I'm thrilled to be talking to Leon Taylor. Leon is an Olympic medalist in diving, and after 20 years in elite sport, Leon has gone on to commentate for the BBC, becoming the voice of diving. Leon is a mentor and coach for Olympic and Paralympic athletes. Leon's passion for physical and mental well-being saw him deliver a TEDx talk, which was viewed by over 1 million people. If you haven't seen it, please get a chance to have a nose at that. Now enjoying his role as Headspace coach for the newly launched Headspace Move Mode, Leon continues to share his experience and his talent for inspiring others to improve how they think, move and feel. Leon, how the devil are you?
Oh, hi, Mike. Thanks for that lovely introduction. But you forgot the most important bit, that we're good friends. And
we are good friends.
Yeah, that's the best bit of the bio. And really happy to spend some short, sharp time with you and maybe add a little bit of guidance for people out there during this very uncertain time. And thanks for having me.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for being involved. I guess one of the reasons for reaching out to you today, Leon, is one of the things that you're known for, and in the wellbeing space, certainly for how not only you look after your own mental health and your own wellbeing, is how you inspire others to follow. And that's something which has always sort of touched me. And I know the circle of friends that we're in. But obviously, there's going to be a ton of people that are going through such levels of anxiety and stress and uncertainty in the fertility or the trying to conceive world at the moment, where they're unsure whether their treatment plans or when they're going to start, how clinics will prioritize their treatment, whether age will become a factor, the state of their fertility will be an issue. So lots of anxiety out there at the moment. And I thought you would be someone perfect that could either share some techniques or some best practice with how to look after ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been fascinated by how we respond to challenge. And obviously my backstory as an Olympic athlete was full of challenge, and this whole notion of how we show up and how we deal with setbacks, fascinated me over the years. So I studied psychology, and I've done much research which came out in my TED talk. But most recently over the years, I've been really focusing on this, how we manage stress. And I think the first thing to acknowledge is it's completely normal. It's completely normal in a situation like this to feel uneasy, to feel stress, to feel anxiety, to feel all these different emotions. That's a completely normal human thing to do. So that's where we need to start, is just to acknowledge what I'm feeling is completely normal. Now, what's really important here is that they are just emotions. And if we can just create a bit of space between them, if we can choose how we relate to those emotions, then that gives us a little bit of space, a little bit of a chance to manage these uncertain times. So a very quick personal story. I was quarantined in Lanzarote recently because my partner and I were away, and this is where the COVID outbreak started. We were quarantined in the resort we were staying at. We were trying to get home on an emergency flight. My stress was through the roof, and I went through my emails, and I was getting cancellation after cancellation of my role at the Olympic Games. Eventually, the Olympic Games were moved by a year, and I went into a free fall. I experienced all these emotions. First of all, I was in denial that it was actually happening. I thought, oh, it's just flu. It'll be over soon. And then I got angry that I was stuck and quarantined and all these things were happening. And then I started bargaining, thinking, oh, it'll be over in a week. I know it will. Fingers crossed. And then I fell into a deep state of sadness, and disillusionment and anxiety and all of these feelings, because I just had nothing to pitch on. All these plans had just been totally cancelled. And then I managed to shift, and this is the key, shift from sadness, where I was, to acceptance. Not acceptance of everything's okay, because it isn't okay, because lots of things were disrupted. Acceptance of the current set of circumstances. And I was reminded of a quote, and I'll share it with you and everyone who's watching now, is that what has happened is uncontrollable, but what you do now changes everything. And that's what shifted for me, just accepting where I'm at, these current set of circumstances, and not wanting to hold on to the past and wish it was different, because it isn't. It's like, okay, so what can I do now? I can choose my attitude. I can choose some things that I know will assist me. And I'd be delighted to share some of those techniques with you today. But that's my own kind of personal story of how this has disrupted me. So I really feel for everyone going through their very specific stresses with their life and how they're being affected. And it's completely normal to feel it, but we do have a choice on how we respond and we relate to those very, very normal feelings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely forgot that that's where you were when all of this kicked off. And then I remember us speaking not too long ago, and then you were telling me those stages of how you sort of put things into compartments in order to deal with it, which is probably quite similar to a lot of people at the moment that are having those plans just taken away from them, that are probably feeling that first stage of absolute anger, and just unsure how to channel that. So what type of techniques can people do to help self-manage, Leon?
Yeah, so let me give you some broad brushstrokes, and then I'll give you 3 specific ones that I'm using, that everyone I'm working with are using. They're precise, effective of ways to manage stress. But before, just to give you a little bit of an overview, there's a couple of things to pay attention to in the life that we are leading at the moment, because everything has changed. Now, routine is the most important thing, whether it's for a child, as we all are, with kids with bills, or anyone, for the whole household. And I think it's really important that you spend some time creating a routine and sticking to it. It can be very easy to fall into, what's the point? Everything's changed. It can be quite nihilistic, and that, we've got to be mindful of falling into those patterns. So routines around work, rest, hobbies, movement, when you're going to eat, when you're going to go to bed, when you're going to wake up, and start to do that for the whole household, if you're on your own or if you're with many. I think it's so important that we have a routine and a structure in order to manage our mental health, because if we don't have things to focus on and a structure to bounce around in, we can start to fall into lower spots. So I think that's really, really important. Privacy is massively important. If you're in a busy household during quarantine, I think it's really important that everyone gets some privacy. That could be you take over the front room for an hour and watch whatever it is, your favorite show, and everyone else isn't allowed in there. Or that you're in your bedroom and no one can disturb you for an hour or half an hour, or whatever it is. So make sure you get some privacy going around. Eating is really important, that we don't fall into patterns of quarantine snacking. I think could be something that we could all fall into. I think being able to consume what you need for the energy that you require, but also when I'm talking about eating and consuming, think about your mental diet. What are you consuming through your eyes and your ears? Are you reading constant news feeds? Are you getting information from good sources? If you are, you only need a little bit of information to understand where we are in this crisis. But if you fall down the news feed rabbit hole, that isn't good for your mental health. And be mindful of the sources, especially with your engagement on social media. Be really mindful that you're not spending hours and hours and hours reading unhelpful comments or whatever it might be. So careful what you consume. Keep hydrated, keep nutrition to mind for the energy levels, but also what you're consuming from a mental diet point of view. So there's just a few things there to think about before I share the techniques. What do you think to those, Mike?
I can relate to every single one of them. One which resonates massively for me is privacy, because you're under everyone's feet, and there's only a few of us in this house, but we're fortunate enough that if I can go in a different room, I can do, and have watch something that I just want to watch for half an hour. I think privacy is something that probably a lot of people are struggling with. Everyone's under everyone's feet at the minute, so that's something which I can definitely relate to, and obviously stacking like it's going out of fashion.
And so when we're talking about privacy, because there will be people watching this who may be in isolation on their own. So I think the opposite is true, that it's really important that we connect. And we've got a great opportunity now to connect with people more frequently, as we're doing now with the technology that is available to us. We can really connect with people in quite a powerful way. I mean, I know that I'm venturing into this online world now with new enthusiasm, because before I was a bit resistant, because I love the live, and speaking to various size audiences, traveling the world, doing all these things. But now this is my only opportunity to connect with people. So the classes that I'm running online, the most important thing to me is this connection, the fact that I can high five people. I could look, at the people who are there, and I can, alongside that, connect with friends. I even taught my mum and dad, who are in their 70s, and so they're looking after themselves. I even taught them how to use Zoom. So that's it, bringing my parents at a certain age into this technology, and it's great, right? And I think that for me, I've spoken to friends all over the world who I haven't spoken to for ages, and connection is massively important for our own wellness. And if we are paying attention to our own wellness, our self-care, then we can manage our stress more effectively.
Amazing. I totally agree. Okay, so we've got 4 minutes left then, Leon. Right. So talk us through these techniques. I'm really keen to see them.
So 3 techniques. The first one is known as diaphragmatic nasal breathing. So what we're doing is breathing into our belly. So placing your hand on your belly. You can do this with me now, Mike, if you like, providing you can breathe in and out through your nose, through your lips, and you inhale smoothly, softly through the nose, breathing into the belly. So the hand moves out as the belly expands. And then as you exhale slowly through the nose, as your hand comes back in. So that's the technique. If you just continue that, Mike, I'll share with the audience the benefits. What you're doing is moving from a state of stress, fight and flight, to rest and digest. You're stimulating the vagus nerve, which calms the entire autonomic nervous system down, allows you to shift the blood to a different part of the brain, and just gently brings relaxation throughout the body. If you do 10 rounds of this breath, inhale, exhale is 1. You'll feel totally much calmer. If you do 2 rounds or 3 rounds, it's an absolute doozy, but it's in and out through the nose and in the belly. This is diaphragmatic nasal breathing, and it just calms your autonomic nervous system down. It gets you out of your head, overthinking, and into your body. It's a perfect way to settle down. Teach it to everyone in your family and all of your friends. It's the easiest way to hack our human nervous system. Cool. So that's the first one. The second one is a practical technique. And I do this all the time when I'm caught in patterns of overthinking. I know everyone watching this will be worried about things outside of their control. So get it out of your head and onto a piece of paper. Simply writing down everything that is on your mind that's whirring around, especially if it's keeping you up at night. Just having a pen and paper near the bed just allows you to get it out of your head and onto a piece of paper. And that act alone makes it easier to manage. And then when you revisit that piece of paper, be honest and delete the ones that you can't do anything about, those with outside of your control. And it just allows you, from a thought point of view, to settle down. And the last tip is simple, it's move. Don't spend all day on the laptop, don't spend all day on the phone. Make sure you've got regular movement in there. It could be just getting up and stretching, having a walk around your apartment. It could be more fundamental exercises, maybe some bodyweight exercises. Maybe you do Headspace move, or maybe you join me at one of my live classes. And I know Mike will share with you the details of those. Mindset and Movement is a 60-minute online class. So you've got loads of options there, but make sure you move regularly. Why? Because it boosts your mood, changes your state, increases your self-esteem, and regular exercise actually changes the shape of your brain. So those are the 3 most powerful, precise, effective ways to manage your stress, and they're easy to do, and you can do them frequently. So please remember that they're always available to you.
Amazing, Leon. You always know the right stuff to say. Thank you so much. Now, for anyone in the last sort of 30 seconds to a minute, in terms of where they can find more information about you, I'm obviously going to comment below and put in some details in there. Is there anything in particular that you've got coming up, Leon, that is useful for people to be aware of, or is it all found on either your website or on the site where everything's taking place right now?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, my website, in my link tree, has got all the information. So my mindset and movement classes are open to all levels. It's a combination of my 2 passions, mindset coaching and movement. I get people who late on in life, in their 60s, and I get younger people joining in, sometimes whole families join in. So it's a lot of fun. It's a great way to connect. And so you'll be able to find that through my channels. So Leon Taylor GB is my handle on Insta, Twitter and Facebook, but you'll be able to find it through my website as well. And there's plenty of information on there, and it's pay what you can format. I know some people like me have had all of their finances taken out, so please don't think that's a barrier. Pay what you can, join me, and let's have a mental and physical workout together. If not, then use some of these tips and techniques, and please, finally from me, look after yourselves and look out for each other as well.
You're a star. Thank you so much, Leon. A pleasure talking to you as always. Take it easy, buddy. Take care.
Thanks, mate.
Bye.